Hello my friends, and welcome back to another homeschooling video. I have spent the last few weeks creating an outline for our homeschool for next year, and it's been taking a while to do this, but I'm so excited that I have it pretty much done. This is going to help me so much. I wish I would have done it years ago. This is largely thanks to Heather. I'll have her channel below. She had a series a couple months ago now, I think it was a 5-video series, talking about creating your own curriculum and how she does it, and it really helped me. I've made some tweaks. So I'm gonna share my outline with you guys. I'm gonna starting with next year will be my 10th grader. I'm working on getting all the exact supplies and books and details ironed out, but I'm going to give you the outline, and then I'm also going to give you a brief outline for my 2nd grader, so that hopefully that will help you. I am also going to have printables for these. I do not have them yet. I will have them by next week, so make sure that you are signed up for my Substack newsletter. It's totally free, but then I'll post on there when they are up, so that way you can check them out. I think having the visual will really help with if you want to use this to create your own curriculum outline. Unfortunately, I just don't quite have it ready yet, but I'll have it soon. I knew if I waited until I had it ready, then I would just put this video off and then it would just not happen. So my plan today is to tell you how, like, the outline that I've created. I guess you can use it, you can tweak it. You'll obviously fill in your own resources and books, etc. Then for the next number of weeks, I want to go through each subject and give you guys a plethora of resources for different ages, and just each video will be a specific subject, and then I will share a bunch of resources. I've done this in the past, but now my kids are older. We are doing the younger years a second time over, and I have more resources to share. So that will be coming over the next few weeks. And then after that, I'm going to be sharing the specific resources I'm going to be assigning each of my kids for their different grades. And that is the reason I'm doing that later, is just because I don't have it all ironed out. I'm still pre-reading some things and trying to work out all the details there, so that'll give me some time. So all that to say, today I'm going to be sharing this curriculum outline with you. I feel like I've done something similar in the past, but somehow things are just clicking better this year. And part of it, I think, has to do with the fact that a few months ago, I realized if we kind of go a little bit more Charlotte Mason-esque and we stick to shorter subjects and timing them for at least a number of the subjects, that will really help us get through more subjects if we're doing shorter ones. And having a time on it also allows me to be a little bit more loose in my creating of the curriculum. Like, I don't have to say you have to read 2 chapters today and then it ends up taking twice as long as I expect. Instead, I can say you're reading for 20 minutes today, and then I know how much time it takes. And then I don't necessarily know when a book is going to be completed, but my plan is to always kind of have the next book ready to go. Hopefully this will make more sense as we go into it. So obviously we're starting with my 10th grader. Not all my kids are going to have all of these things on their list, but I thought I would start with the one that has the most to it. And you can decide, you know, like, oh, my kid doesn't need that right now or whatever. And then I will also share my 2nd grader one, which will have a bunch of this removed. So let's start with Bible. The first thing I want my kids to be doing is spending some time in the Word, so doing some kind of Bible reading. For her, I am not actually assigning anything or tracking anything. My goal is just to have a number of different resources available. I will talk more about resources to come, but like right now she is reading through, oh, why can't I remember, the Bible recap. So it's a chronological 365-day read through of the Bible. And I don't know, watch that at all, teach that, hover over that. She's doing all that on her own, but I have some other things lined up for when she's done that. We're also going to be doing scripture memory. This is something every year I'm just like, oh, why am I so bad at this? It's always been a struggle, but it's something that I always want to try to do. Then under Bible, I guess it's like Bible and Christian living type stuff. I have biographies, so she's going to be continually reading a bunch of different Christian hero type biographies. I have a couple. I have actually quite a long list, and I've told her as we were going through kind of what I have laid out, you don't have to get to all of these this year. Like whatever you don't get to, we're just going to carry over to next year. But I always would rather have too many resources so that I'm ready in case we need them. So I've got a lot of things under Christian biographies for her. And then I also want her to do some kind of like Christian readings. So these are either fiction or nonfiction. So I'm thinking either, you know, something like the Screw Tape Letters, which is fiction, or Mere Christianity, which is nonfiction. So I've got a list of books there as well. So that is our Bible stuff. Then history. Now I remember Heather saying that it's, for her, it makes the most sense to get history ironed out first, and then a bunch of your other subjects can kind of get put under there. So I spent a lot of time thinking about history, asked my kids what they were interested about in history, and it kind of helps that my daughter is going into 10th grade next year. So I have this like, okay, we only have 3 years left. What do I feel like I need to cover in the next 3 years? Somehow that made things easier and also more panicky because it's like, I only have 3 years left. But for history, we are going to be doing some Canadian history. That is definitely harder to find resources for than other types of history, but I do think as Canadians we should be doing some Canadian history. And then we're doing world history as well, and we're going to be doing from 1900 to 1950 or 1949, probably 1949. And so we're going to be doing, we're trying this year to do 3 terms of 12 weeks with a week off in between. I can hear a kid laughing, it's probably coming through. I've never tried that before. So for each term, we're going to do 1900 to 1920 for one, 1920 to 1930 for another, and 1940s for the last one. I think that should work out. Only problem is there's so many resources for that time period. Like my list here is really long, and I just need to remind myself I don't need to get to everything, but I have a lot of great resources there. Then also for history, and this kind of could have been in the Bible and Christian living section as well, but we're going to be doing some church history. I have some great resources for that. And then also current events. So we're doing everything from church history is as far back as we're going up until current events. So we've got all that. This year, for the first time, we're going to be doing some mythology. Where me and my older two are kind of interested in Greek mythology, partially because it is brought up so much in life. Like the other day, we were driving home and one of my kids asked, why is the ring around the sun called a sundog? And apparently that goes back to Greek mythology. And my kids have enjoyed the Percy Jackson TV show. My one has enjoyed the Percy Jackson series. I think the other one has only read the first book. And so it would be interesting to get to know some Greek mythology because I really don't know anything. Then we're going into literature. This is my sweet spot here. This is where I could just assign way too many books. But this is books. So we're going to be specifically, she'll be having a classic on the go. She'll be having a more modern classic on the go. Shakespeare. She's going to be doing one per term, and I'm going to be letting her choose because earlier this year she decided to read, which one did she read? Macbeth or Hamlet? Now I don't remember, because she wanted to and she loved it. And if I assign things, it's, you know, not as loved. So I'm gonna let her pick. Then we're also doing poetry. So each of my big kids, I'm going to give them a poem for every day of the year type book that I want them to read a poem every day from, as well as I'm going to have each of them pick a poet to either study for the year, or maybe like if they have a shorter book, like if they pick Emily Dickinson, they're set for a long time. She's got a lot of poems. But if they pick someone that hasn't written as many, they might have to pick a few poets. And the idea there is just to read a poem a day. So that's easy enough. And then I'm also going to be having free reads, which will go in here, that are maybe kind of related to other things that they're learning or other books that I think they're going to like. The problem here will just definitely be having way too many books that I want them to read, but it's okay. And then we've got composition. This year, we're really focusing more on the Charlotte Mason narration type of composition. So these are going to be both oral and written, and it's going to be interesting, that's for sure. So obviously what exactly we do will vary on each kid, but we're going to be doing that. Then under languages, she will be doing some dictation. She's going to be keeping a commonplace book, which I'm excited about because I love my commonplace book. I use it all the time. So it's just writing down quotes from books that you read. And I think that'll be great. I think that was a Charlotte Mason thing. We're not 100% Charlotte Mason at all, but it's always cool when you pull in things that other people recommend. We're going to be doing some recitation, so probably poetry. I don't know if there will be any other recitation that we do. Grammar. She really enjoys a lot of grammar, so we're going to be doing something there. Foreign language. I'm going to get each of my bigger kids to choose a foreign language. My oldest has already picked one, and that is all for like language arts, which is literature, composition, languages. In my mind, that's all language arts. Then we go into arts. So each of my kids is going to pick an art type. I'm not sure what the right word I'm looking for is. So either drawing, watercolor, like there's so many different things. We could do clay. I don't know. They're each going to pick some type of art form that I'm going to try to find a resource for. We're going to be doing artist study, and this is one of the many areas where I get a little overwhelmed. Like, there's so many artists, who do we start with? And so we always do Van Gogh because, I don't know, I just find him easy to find resources for. But this year, we're going to follow Ambleside's list. So they have one for each term, and I think one of these, both of my kids, at least one of them, had in their Good and Beautiful this last year, so that'll be interesting. Then I wrote down architecture, and at this point I don't remember what I was thinking there. So either I copied this from Heather and was going to look up resources, or I wrote it down and whatever I was thinking at the moment has disappeared. So if you guys have some architecture type ideas, let me know. I don't think it's a bad idea. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to put under there, but it's on my list. We're also going to be doing composer study. I think we will also be following the Ambleside online list for that. I actually haven't looked to see what it is for this upcoming year, but that seems like the easy route and should be good. And then each of my older kids have a musical instrument that they are learning, so that's under that section as well. Then we are going into science. Science is, for me, one of the harder subjects because it's not really what I'm interested in, other than nature study, which I love, but all the other types, not so much. So we're going to be doing, she's going to be doing applied science, special studies. She's currently doing the Sabbath Mood Homeschool, one of their units. I think that might be how we're going next year. So she's currently doing biology, which is of interest to her. And so I might be getting each of my, at least big kids, to pick 3 different units from there. And special studies is talked about in there. So she's currently doing that. And then nature study, that's the thing that I always like to do. I always like to get out in nature and, have a bird book. I love that. Underneath this is also nature lore. So picking a novel that has a lot to do with nature. This is where all of the books on her list right now I have not read. So this is where I really need to do some pre-reading. Not that I'm totally fine with her trying these out and then her saying, oh, this is actually kind of terrible, but I want to read them. Like, I want to know. So those need to be pre-read there. And then kind of underneath science is geography. It's kind of its own thing. It's its own thing on my list. So we are going to be learning world geography. We're going to be doing that in a couple different ways. We're going to be drawing the world. We're going to be doing map drills. And I will explain that more when I share some geography resources in the future. We're also going to be making sure my kids have their Canadian capitals nailed down. We have worked on it a little bit in the past, but it's been a bit now, and it's always a good refresher. And then in this section as well, I have some novels that I think would be really good, and I have 3 of them, maybe 4, that I want to pre-read / I also want to read, so there's that as well. For math, for us, for her at least, my oldest 2, we're doing Learn Math Fast. That's still working. She's down to, or up to book 5 now. So she's done math for this year. She's gonna pick up book 5 starting next year, because I figured, why start something when she's gonna get a number of lessons in and then forget it all by the time September rolls around. So that's what she's doing for math. And as same for my going to be 7th grader. If he ends up needing some swaps, we'll figure that out. Then we've got logic. So for her, I have 2 things underneath this. I have like more the deductive reasoning logic, as well as, so for like the deductive reasoning, she's going through the book Myrtle, which has deductive reasoning puzzles. It's great. But then also I want her to read the book that's called How to Read a Book. I have seen this under logic, I think on Ambleside, and it's a book I would also like to read. Man, if a person could just have, 4 hours every day to devote to your own study instead of homeschooling your kids, maybe that's what my summer is going to be. Maybe I just summer school myself. That's an option. So that was logic, which is kind of under math, but it's also kind of not. And then the last thing is citizenship. This is a Charlotte Mason thing, and we're gonna give it a try. One thing that we're gonna put underneath here is government, because we should know how the Canadian government works. We are currently in an election. It's officially next Monday, but we pre-voted this last weekend, and so we've had some discussions about that, but really we haven't done much for government. So government, and then Charlotte Mason recommends Plutarch, which is normally people start it when their kids are really young and then get decently overwhelmed. So I'm excited to see how this goes. And then also Charlotte Mason's volume Ourselves. I think there's a student edition. I have not gathered all my resources for this yet, but that's what I'm going to look into. So that is my 10th graders list. I am going to be creating a schedule for her of here are the things you do every day. And then I think we're going to do day A and day B, which will have slightly different things. And then you alternate each day so that we can cover all of the stuff. I'll talk more about that once I actually get that all figured out. And then I'm going to pull up the list I have for my 2nd grader. So I'm going to breeze through this because a lot of it is the same, but he has less stuff. So once again, we're going to have Bible. We do Bible reading. He's going to be doing scripture memory. We are going to be doing Christian biographies in kind of like picture book form, and some kind of Christian readings. I have books on my Amazon wish list for those last 2, but I haven't read them yet, so hopefully the ones I have selected are good. Then going on to history, we are focusing on Canadian history this year. We are not going to be doing world history because I figured we should just start with Canadian history. He has been public schooled until now, and so I thought we should just start with kind of closer to home, and then we'll go from there. Other than we are doing some church history, which I have a book I want to get for as well, and current events as well. I have a question beside mythology. I don't think we're gonna do that. I think we're gonna maybe do fables instead. That kind of makes more sense. Fables and maybe fairy tales. As I gather materials, I kind of figure out what works best there, but I think we'll probably do fables. Then for literature, we are going to be doing some classics, some modern classics, some poetry, some free reads, but all closer to his level. There are a few classics that I usually read aloud to my kids when they're a little younger than him, but because he's been in school, we haven't had that opportunity. So I'm probably gonna have too long of a list here for him because I'm just excited to read all the books we haven't gotten to yet. And then composition, he's gonna be doing some writing, some oral compositions, oral narrations, and underneath languages, we're gonna be doing copywork, recitation, and then I already said oral narrations. So it's much simpler for grade 2. Art, same thing. It's gonna be doing some art practice. I think we're probably just gonna stick with drawing at the beginning here in grade 2. We're also going to be doing some artist study and composer study, same thing there. And then science, I think for this, I'm going to kind of go the route of the well-trained mind. I need to look over that. I have an older edition, not the current edition, that I bought back when my oldest was in kindergarten or grade 1. And I actually haven't used a ton of the ideas from there. That's more of a classical education. But I think I might use their kind of calendar type thing for science, but we might be starting with the first grade science since he hasn't been home yet. And then we're going to be doing nature study and then also nature lore. I have quite a few nature lore books for the younger years. And then geography is just going to be Canadian geography. Keep it simple, keep it local. And then math, we will probably be doing math fast, learn math fast. He does a little bit on days when he's home from school. He is also really interested in math, so I might glean some more resources for him there. But that gives you an outline of grade 2 versus grade 10. And then I'm also going to be having a 7th grader and a kindergartner, which the 7th grader will be mostly closer to the grade 10 list and the kindergartner will be closer to the grade 2 list, but even easier. So hopefully this outline helps. Like I said, it will help once I have a printable for you, so make sure you're subscribed to my newsletter so that you can download those once I have those available. But I'm really excited about this, and I'm excited to share a bunch of resources in the next few weeks. Just give you a big old resource dump of good resources that you can use for these various sections. So yeah, hopefully that helps you out. Thanks for hanging out with me for another video.